When I found that hideous jewelry box hidden in the back of our closet, I thought I was doing us both a favor by getting rid of it. I had no idea it would cost me everything. My name is Ashley, and I'm 28 years old from Dallas, Texas. I've been with my boyfriend Marcus for 3 years now, and we've been living together in his apartment for the past year. Marcus is 31, works in IT, and is honestly the most sentimental person I've ever met. He keeps everything: ticket stubs from movies, receipts from our first date, even the wrapper from the first candy bar I bought him. It drives me crazy sometimes, but I figured it was harmless enough. Marcus lost his mum when he was 22, cancer. He doesn't talk about it much, but I know it hit him hard. She was a single mum who raised him alone after his dad left when he was 5. From what I've gathered, they were really close. The few times he's mentioned her, his whole face changes, gets this soft, sad look that makes me want to change the subject. I never met her, obviously, but I've seen pictures. She looked nice enough, one of those wholesome cookie-baking types who probably wore cardigans and sensible shoes. Not really my style, but I could see where Marcus got his kindness from. The thing is, Marcus has never really dealt with losing her. Our apartment is like a shrine to his childhood. There are pictures of them everywhere, her old cookbooks in the kitchen, even some of her furniture mixed in with his stuff. At first, I thought it was sweet. A year later, I was starting to feel like I was living with a ghost. I tried bringing it up gently a few times, suggesting maybe we could redecorate a little, make the place feel more like ours instead of his mom's. But Marcus would get this defensive look and change the subject. So I dropped it. Mostly. The jewelry incident happened on a Saturday in March. Marcus had gone to play basketball with his friends, something he did every weekend. I was home alone, finally getting around to organizing our bedroom closet. We'd been talking about getting a bigger place, and I wanted to see what we actually had before we started packing. That's when I found the jewelry box. It was tucked way in the back, behind some old coats Marcus never wore. A wooden box, probably from the 70s based on the style. Dark wood with some kind of floral carving that looked like it came from a thrift store. The whole thing was dusty and obviously hadn't been touched in forever. I opened it out of curiosity, expecting maybe some old watches or cufflinks. Instead, I found the most outdated collection of jewelry I'd ever seen. Chunky gold chains from the 80s, oversized earrings with fake gems, a bunch of rings that looked like they came from a gumball machine. Everything was tarnished and cheap-looking, the kind of stuff you'd find at a garage sale for 50 cents. My first thought was that Marcus had inherited this from some elderly relative and just never bothered to get rid of it. It was obviously costume jewelry, not worth anything, and it was taking up valuable closet space that we desperately needed. I spent maybe 5 minutes looking through it, trying to find anything that might be worth keeping. There was nothing, just old, ugly jewelry that belonged in the trash, so that's where I put it. I threw the whole box in the garbage bag with the rest of the clutter I was clearing out. Old magazines, broken hangers, clothes that didn't fit anymore. Just junk that was taking up space in our life. Marcus came home around 6 that evening, sweaty and happy from his basketball game. I'd made dinner, his favorite pasta dish, and had cleaned the entire apartment. I was feeling proud of myself for being so productive. "Hey babe," he said, kissing my cheek. "Place looks great. What did you do all day?" "Organize the closet," I said, setting the table. "You won't believe how much junk we had in there. I threw out like 3 garbage bags worth of stuff." "What kind of stuff?" "Just old things, clothes that don't fit, magazines from 2019, some random jewelry box that was falling apart. Nothing important." Marcus stopped mid-bite. "What jewelry box?" "Some old wooden thing in the back of the closet. Really ugly, covered in dust. All the jewelry inside was tarnished and cheap-looking." The color drained from his face. "Ashley, what did you do with it?" "I threw it away. It was just junk, Marcus. Trust me, none of it was worth keeping." He stood up so fast his chair fell backward. "You threw it away? Where?" "In the dumpster outside." "Marcus, what's wrong?" "It was just costume jewelry." Without saying another word, he ran out of the apartment, still in his basketball clothes, still holding his fork. I heard his feet pounding down the stairs and then the front door of the building slamming shut. I sat there for a minute, completely confused. Then I followed him outside. I found Marcus behind our building, digging through the dumpster like a man possessed. He was throwing garbage bags onto the pavement, ripping them open, searching frantically through the contents. "Marcus, What are you doing? You're going to hurt yourself. He didn't even look at me. Help me find it. Find what? Marcus, talk to me. What was in that box? My mum's jewelry. His voice cracked on the words. All of it, everything she ever owned. My stomach dropped. Your mum's? She didn't have much money, Ashley. Everything she owned was from discount stores or garage sales. But it was hers. It was all I had left of her. I watched him tear through garbage bags, getting more frantic by the minute. Marcus, I didn't know. Why didn't you tell me? Tell you what? That my dead mother's jewelry wasn't expensive enough for you to recognize it was important? The words hit me like a slap. That's not fair. How was I supposed to know? Because you're supposed to care enough to ask before you throw away my things. He found the wooden box in the third bag, half covered in coffee grounds and food scraps. When he opened it, most of the jewelry was dirty but intact. But one of the chains had broken and several earrings were missing. Marcus sat on the pavement behind our building, holding a tarnished gold locket in his hands. His shoulders were shaking. She wore this every day, he whispered. Every single day until she died. I knelt down next to him, trying to see what was so special about it. It looked like every other piece in the box, cheap and outdated. But when Marcus opened it, I saw there was a tiny picture inside, a photo of him as a little boy, maybe 5 years old, grinning at the camera. Marcus, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. She worked 3 jobs to raise me, he said, not looking at me. She never had money for nice things, but she saved up for months to buy me a Christmas present one year, and I bought her this locket with the money I made shoveling snow. She said it was the most beautiful thing anyone had ever given her. I felt sick. We can clean it up. Fix the chain that broke. That's not the point, Ashley. Then what is the point? He finally looked at me and I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Disappointment. Not anger, not hurt. Disappointment. The point is that you saw something that belonged to me, decided it was worthless, and threw it away without asking. You didn't even think to check with me first. I was trying to help. I was cleaning and organizing. No, you were getting rid of things you didn't like, things that didn't fit your vision of how our life should look. That stung because it was partly true. I had been thinking about how much better the closet looked without all that clutter. Marcus, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. He stood up, cradling the jewelry box like it might break. Do you know what else was in here? I shook my head. Her wedding ring from my dad. She never took it off, even after he left. Her mother's pearl earrings, fake pearls, but the only thing she had from her family. A bracelet I made her in elementary school out of pasta and spray paint. Each item he listed made me feel worse. I didn't know. You didn't ask. We went back upstairs in silence. Marcus spent the next hour carefully cleaning each piece of jewelry, checking for damage. I tried to help, but he waved me away. I can do it, he said quietly. I sat on our bed watching him work. How can I fix this? You can't. Marcus, please. I said I was sorry. I know you are, but sorry doesn't bring back the earrings that are probably in a garbage truck right now. He was right, and I hated it. What do you want me to do? I want you to understand why this matters. I'm trying to understand. Marcus looked up from the jewelry he was cleaning. Are you? Because from where I'm sitting, it seems like you're more upset about being in trouble than you are about what you actually did. That's not true, isn't it? You keep asking how you can fix this, how you can make it better. But you haven't once asked me to tell you about her jewelry. You haven't asked what any of these pieces meant to her. He was right again, and it made me defensive. I'm asking now, only because I called you out on it. We stared at each other across the bedroom. Marcus went back to cleaning his mum's jewelry, and I sat there feeling like the worst girlfriend in the world. Tell me about the bracelet, I said finally. Marcus paused, holding up a tarnished chain with small pasta shells painted gold. I made it for her when I was 7, Mother's Day project at school. She wore it to work that day, told all her co-workers her son was going to be an artist. That's sweet. She kept everything I ever made her. Drawings, cards, crafts from school. She said they were her treasures. I could hear the love in his voice when he talked about her, and it made me realize something uncomfortable. In 3 years together, Marcus had never talked about me the way he talked about his mum. Not even close. What about the rings? Most of them were gifts from me, Birthday presents, Christmas presents. I'd save up my allowance or money from odd jobs and buy her something from the jewelry counter at Kmart. She'd act like I'd given her diamonds. She sounds like she was a good mom. The best. Marcus finished cleaning the last piece and carefully arranged everything back in the wooden box. She died wearing most of this. I had to ask the funeral home to remove it so I could keep it. The image of him, 22 and grieving, asking for his dead mother's jewelry back made my throat tight. Marcus. I've never shown this to anyone before, not even my closest friends. It was private, special. Why didn't you ever show me? He was quiet for a long moment. Because I was afraid you'd react exactly the way you did today. The words hung between us like a wall. What's that supposed to mean? It means I knew you'd see cheap jewelry instead of priceless memories. I knew you'd want to get rid of it because it didn't match your aesthetic. You don't know that, don't I? Ashley, you've been trying to erase my mom from this apartment since you moved in. That's not true. You suggested we take down her pictures. You wanted to get rid of her cookbooks. You complained about her furniture being outdated. Each example hit me like a punch. I was just trying to make the space feel like ours. No, you were trying to make it feel like yours. There's a difference. I wanted to argue, but I couldn't. Because deep down I knew he was right. I had been trying to erase his mum's presence from our life together. Not maliciously, but because it made me uncomfortable to live surrounded by reminders of someone who would always be more important to Marcus than I was. I didn't mean to hurt you, I said quietly. I know you didn't. But you did. Marcus closed the jewelry box and put it on his nightstand. I think you should stay at your sister's tonight. Marcus, please, let's talk about this. We did talk about it. And now I need some space to think. Think about what? About whether this is going to work. My heart stopped. You're breaking up with me over jewelry. I'm questioning our relationship because you threw away something irreplaceable without caring enough to ask what it was first. It was a mistake. Was it? Or was it just you doing what you always do, making decisions about my life without including me? I wanted to deny it, but examples started flooding my mind. Times I'd made plans for us without asking him first. Times I'd gotten rid of his things because I didn't like them. Times I'd dismissed his opinions because I thought I knew better. I don't always do that, I said weakly. Ashley, you threw away my dead mother's jewelry because you thought it was ugly. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about how you approach our relationship, I don't know what will. I packed a bag and went to my sister's apartment. I kept expecting Marcus to call or text, to say he was overreacting and wanted me to come home. But my phone stayed silent. My sister Emma listened to the whole story while making us coffee. So, let me get this straight, she said when I finished. You found a jewelry box in your boyfriend's closet and threw it away without asking him about it first. I didn't know it was his mom's. That's not the point, Ashley. It wasn't yours to throw away. Whose side are you on? I'm on the side of common sense. You don't throw away other people's belongings without permission. It looked like junk. To you. But it wasn't your stuff. Emma sat down across from me at her kitchen table. Can I ask you something? Sure. Why do you think Marcus never told you about the jewelry? I don't know. He's private about his mum. Or maybe he knew you wouldn't understand why it was important to him. What's that supposed to mean? Ashley, you've been dating this man for 3 years. In all that time, did you ever ask him about his mum's belongings? Did you ever show interest in his memories of her? I opened my mouth to say yes, then closed it. Because the truth was, I'd actively avoided talking about his mum. It made me uncomfortable, made me feel like I was competing with a ghost. I asked sometimes, I said lamely. Asked what? About his childhood, about her. But did you ask to see her things? Did you ask him to share those memories with you? No? Why not? I stared into my coffee mug. Because I didn't want to know. It felt weird being jealous of a dead woman, but I was. I was jealous of how much he loved her. And now? Now I threw away the only physical reminders he had left of her. Emma reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You messed up, really badly, but maybe it's not too late to fix it. How? The jewelry is ruined. Some of it is gone forever. The jewelry isn't the real problem, Ashley. The problem is that Marcus doesn't trust you to care about what's important to him. So what do? You prove him wrong. I spent the next 3 days at Emma's place, thinking about everything Marcus had said. He was right. I had been trying to erase his mom from our life together, not consciously, but because I felt threatened by her memory. How do you compete with someone who sacrificed everything for the person you love? How do you measure up to a mother who worked 3 jobs and wore costume jewelry like it was precious because her son gave it to her? The answer was, you don't compete. You honor that love and try to be worthy of it. On Wednesday, I went back to our apartment. Marcus was at work, so I let myself in with my key. The jewelry box was still on his nightstand, but now it was open. Some of the pieces were laid out carefully on a soft cloth. I sat on the bed and really looked at them for the first time. The pasta bracelet was so fragile, it looked like it might crumble if you breathed on it wrong. The locket was dented and scratched but polished to a shine. Each piece told a story of love between a mother and son. When Marcus came home that evening, he found me sitting on the bed with my laptop. "What are you doing here?" "Research," I said, closing the laptop. "I've been learning about jewelry restoration. There's a place downtown that specializes in vintage and antique pieces. They think they can fix the broken chain and maybe even find replacement earrings that match the ones that got lost." Marcus sat down next to me. "Ashley. I also called the waste management company. They let me search through yesterday's pickup, just in case any of the missing pieces were still there. I didn't find anything, but I tried." "You went through garbage trucks looking for my mom's earrings?" "I ruined something that meant everything to you. I had to at least try to fix it." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "That must have been disgusting." "It was, but not as disgusting as I felt about what I did." "You didn't know." "That's not an excuse. I should have asked. I should have cared enough to ask." Marcus picked up the pasta bracelet, turning it carefully in his hands. "Do you want to know about this?" "Yes, all of it. I want to know everything." He smiled for the first time since the jewelry incident. "Okay, but it's going to take a while. She kept everything I ever gave her." "I have time." Marcus spent the next 2 hours telling me about his mum, how she used to work double shifts at the diner so she could take him to baseball games, how she taught herself to braid hair from YouTube videos when he wanted to invite a girl to the school dance, how she saved up for months to buy him a used PlayStation for Christmas, even though it meant she couldn't afford new work shoes. "She sounds amazing," I said when he finished. "She was. She would have liked you, I think. Even after what I did. She believed in second chances, said people deserve forgiveness if they're willing to learn from their mistakes." I picked up the locket, holding it carefully. "I want to learn. I want to understand why she was so important to you." "She is important to me. Present tense." "I know. And I'm not going to try to change that anymore." Marcus took the locket from my hands and opened it to show me the little picture inside. "I've been thinking about what you said, about making this place feel like ours." "Marcus, you don't have to—" "Let me finish. You were right that we should make it ours. But that means including both of our histories, not erasing mine." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying maybe it's time I shared more of her with you. Maybe if I'd done that from the beginning, you would have understood why a dusty jewelry box was worth keeping." I started crying then, not the manipulative tears I sometimes used to get my way, but real tears of relief and gratitude. "I thought you were going to break up with me," I whispered. "I considered it, for about 5 minutes after you left. What changed your mind?" I realized that my mum would have been disappointed in me for giving up on someone I love over one mistake, even a big one. "I love you too, and I promise I'll never make a decision about your things without asking you first." "Good, because I have 3 boxes of her stuff in storage that I've been too scared to show you." I laughed through my tears. "Can we go through them together?" "I'd like that." 6 months later, our apartment looked completely different. We'd incorporated Marcus's mum's things throughout the space, but in a way that felt intentional rather than shrine-like. Her cookbook collection was displayed in the kitchen alongside mine. Her quilt was folded over the back of our new couch, and her jewelry box sat on our dresser, where Marcus could see it every morning. I'd learned the story behind every piece of jewelry, and Marcus had started letting me wear some of them on special occasions. The first time he clasped his mum's pearl necklace around my neck before we went to dinner, I understood what he meant about precious memories. "She would have loved seeing her jewelry being worn again," he said, adjusting the clasp. "Are you sure?" "I don't want to overstep." I'm sure. She always said jewelry was meant to be worn, not hidden away. The restoration specialist had been able to fix most of the damaged pieces, and we'd found similar earrings to replace the ones that were lost. The jewelry box looked better than it had in years, but the real change was in us. Marcus had started sharing more of his memories with me, and I'd stopped feeling threatened by them. His love for his mum didn't diminish his love for me. It showed me the kind of man he was. The kind of man who valued loyalty and sacrifice and unconditional love. The kind of man who was worth fighting for, even when the fight was against my own selfishness. A year later, Marcus proposed to me with his mum's wedding ring. Not the one his dad had given her, but one Marcus had bought himself with money from his first real job. It was simple and elegant and absolutely perfect. "She would have wanted you to have this," he said as he slipped it onto my finger. "How do you know?" "Because she always said the most important thing was finding someone who would love her son the way she did, completely, even when he's being difficult. Even when his girlfriend throws away his most precious possessions? Especially then." Standing in our bedroom, surrounded by the pieces of Marcus's history that I'd learned to treasure as much as he did, I realized something important. I hadn't just gained a fiancé. I'd gained a deeper understanding of what love really meant. It meant caring about what mattered to the other person, even when you didn't understand it yourself. It meant asking questions instead of making assumptions. It meant choosing to include rather than erase. And sometimes it meant digging through garbage trucks to find what you'd carelessly thrown away.